Hello. Sorry for the delay. Hello, everyone. Once again, welcome to Afriscope TV, where we talk about issues that matters the most to all of us, to all humanity. Today, I want to talk about a very important. Okay, today I don't call my topic controversial because it's something that is affecting people. It's something that is affecting the most vulnerable. Some of the decisions that are made in some of these our so-called developed countries is causing more damage than ever. And I think many people shy away from talking about these issues just because, number one, they do see these big countries as like bullies, top bullies, and they are afraid of losing or being picked up or picked on. So because they don't want to be picked up on, now they keep silent. And what is happening or what is happening next is pure discrimination. So, the UK's mutable and unfavorable immigration laws and how they affect migrants, especially those from Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean. Sorry to say, let me start even by mentioning Caribbean first because that is how it started, then followed by Asia and Africa. So, you may have heard that the UK has recently introduced a new point based immigration system, which will take effect from January 1st, 2024. The system will prioritize skilled workers who have a job offer from an approved employer, speak English, and meet a minimum salary threshold. The Home Secretary said that the system will attract the best and the brightest talent to the UK while reducing low skilled migration and protecting public services. That's what they said. I'm going to read this once again so that we can identify the real meaning behind what they are saying, because a lot of people just read or listen to the news and they don't really look at they do not really try to comprehend anything or the written words, what they are actually putting up there. They don't really care about that. But you and I need to do a very good job this time. We need to read it once again. So this is what it said. The UK has introduced a new point-based immigration system which will take effect from January 1st, 2024. The system will prioritize skilled workers who have a job offer from an approved employer, speak English, and meet a minimum salary threshold. The Home Secretary said that the system will attract the best and the brightest talent to the UK while reducing low skilled migration and protecting public services. How? This is what I actually don't like about that. They claim they are attracting high skilled workers. Who are high skilled workers and how are they made? Are high skilled workers um, like rain that fall from the sky? The high skilled workers they are talking about are poor individual countries, these poor countries invested in. They take they go to school, they have they what some most of them might even go to public school system in their various countries. So definitely, their states invested in them to become productive members of society, and now you are calling them skilled workers because you want to use somebody's resource. You want to use somebody's resource, but you don't care about them. It's common nowadays that you see these top countries, these advanced countries, just care about themselves so much that they do not really care about the people that they are calling the skilled workers. They do not care that they are also human. All they think about is just somebody out there. Sorry to say, but it's unfortunate. Let me continue reading. Skilled workers, but first of all, I want to let everybody know skilled workers are not rain. They are not rain that fall from the sky. They are actually human beings who have problems as well that they are dealing with. Anyways, let me continue this. You know, what I found fascinating about all of this is, what does they actually mean for the billions of, let me correct myself, not billions, only millions. What does it mean for the millions of migrants who are already living in the and working in the UK? What does it mean? What does it mean to them? What does it mean? They have contributed to the economy. Of course, they've contributed to the economy. They've contributed to the society of the UK. They contributed to the culture of that country. And they made the UK their home because they've stayed there, they've invested their effort, their life, everything was invested there. So what happens to them? The people who have invested so much into the UK, invested their energy, their their life, everything, culture, they've done that in that country. What happens to them? Is it hard to welcome people? Is it that hard to welcome people that have contributed to the development of your society, to your nation? What does this mean for the thousands of migrants who are seeking asylum, refuge, or a better life in the UK, who have fled from war, poverty, persecution, or oppression in their countries of origin? What happens to them? What does this mean for the future of diversity, inclusion, and human rights in the UK? Because they are the ones that keep running a helter skelter across the globe, promoting the ideals of what inclusivity and human rights and diversity, whatever they call. And now they are the ones violating it. What happens? The answer is not very promising, of course. The new immigration system will take it harder for many migrants to stay in the UK. Yes, the new immigration system will make it harder for many migrants will stay in the UK. Or it's, let's just say, to even enter the UK in the first place, it will make it harder for them to enter. Many migrants will not qualify. Yes, many migrants will not qualify for their point based system because they do not have a job offer from an approved employer. Of course, many of them, the salary threshold they're talking about, they will not even meet that salary threshold. They wouldn't. Or, in fact, most of them don't even speak good English in the first place. So, you see, many migrants will face the risk of deportation, detention, or even destitution because they do not have a legal status in the UK. These immigration laws will definitely render them stateless. You know, because a lot of the people even in the UK who might even will be hit so hard, they do not even have the correct visas. They overstay their visit. And I don't want to delve into the reasons they overstay the visit in the first place. Number two, or more of the points I'm making, a lot of the people in the UK where that they render stateless are actually asylum seekers. A lot of them, a lot of the people are asylum seekers. Now, they deny them the asylum, rendering them even more stateless, and now they are going to be facing more discrimination. Yes, that's where it goes. They'll be used and dumped like a trash. Human, this is what we call human dignity, human right. That is what we call it. They are definitely going to be facing discrimination, racism, xenophobia, because they are seen as outsiders, invaders, or threats. Threats by some segments of the British society. I watched one of the shows, one of those British media, and they were interviewing the people. I don't know if this that society or that class of the place that they were interviewing. I don't know that they are actually educated about the migrants, and they are talking. Oh, the migrants have invaded our country. They've taken over everything. They're walking around like um, foot soldiers, destroying everything. And I'm like, there's no sense in that. Do they understand what it takes for these migrants to leave their country and to come to your home, to come to the UK? Do they understand that? They don't. And do they want to even understand in the first place? No. They just want them out of their system. This is not a new phenomenon. The UK has a long history of changing its immigration laws, often in response to political, economic, or even social pressures, and often to the detriment of migrants. The UK has a long history of exploiting migrants, especially those from its former colonies, of course, and then discarding them when they are no longer needed or wanted. The UK has a long history of treating migrants as means to an end rather than an end to them in themselves. Yes, rather than an end to themselves. Yeah, that's what they do. Treating people as a means to an end. They do not see them as an end or as ends in themselves. Is it not funny that the so-called people who embrace diversity and inclusivity, this is what they do. This is what they do to the poor and vulnerable, and they claim they want for skilled workers, valuable skilled workers who should take care of, invest in people, and you will utilize them for free and dump them. Don't we now care about human resources anymore? It's all about them. Everything is about them. What about the people themselves? Don't they have their own problems? Don't they have their future ambitions, their plans? Let me give you some example here. In the late 1940s, right, uh, and early 1950s, according to my research, the UK faced a labor shortage after the Second World War and invited migrants from the Commonwealth countries, mainly from the Caribbean, to come and work in the UK. These migrants, known as the Windrush generation, arrived on the ship Empire Windrush in 1948 and settled in the UK, working in various sectors such as health, transport, and manufacturing. They were British citizens and had the right to live and work in the UK. However, in the 1960s and 1970s, the UK changed its immigration laws, restricting the rights of Commonwealth citizens and introducing stricter controls and requirements for the for entry and settlement of the Windrush generation. The Windrush generation, who had not been given any documents to prove their status, suddenly found themselves in a legal limbo, unable to access public services such as healthcare, education, or housing, or even travel abroad, or to vote. Many of them were wrongly detained, deported, or denied re entry to the UK despite having lived there for decades. Some of them died before they could get justice or compensation. The Windrush scandal, as it is known, exposed the cruelty and injustice of the UK's immigration system and the betrayal and abandonment of the Windrush generation by the British government. Another example is the case of the Ugandan Asians. Yes, the Ugandan Asians who were expelled from Uganda by the dictator, yes, by the then dictator Idi Amin in 1972, according to the research. And they sought refuge in the UK. The UK initially refused to accept them, arguing that they were not British citizens and that they should go to to other Commonwealth countries. However, after international pressure and public outcry, the UK reluctantly agreed to take in about 28,000 Ugandan Asians who had who had British passports. The Ugandan Asians faced hostility and discrimination from some sections of the British society. And we see it today. They saw them as unwanted and unwelcome. However, they also proved to be hardworking and entrepreneurial and successful, contributing to the economic and social development of the UK. However, in the 1980s and 1990s, the UK changed its immigration laws again, making it harder for asylum seekers and refugees to enter and stay in the UK, and creating a hostile environment for them. The UK introduced measures such as detention, deportation, destitution, dispersal, and denial of access to public services to deter and discourage asylum seekers and refugees from coming to the UK, or to force them to leave. The UK also introduced a system of vouchers rather than cash to provide support to asylum seekers. This stigmatized and segregated them from the rest of the society. The UK, again, also introduced a system of indefinite leave to remain rather than citizenship to grant to grant status to refugees, which left them in a state of uncertainty and insecurity. Again, the UK also introduced a system of citizenship test. Yes, the UK also introduced a system of citizenship. Sorry, even my tongue cannot hold it anymore. Yeah, let me repeat. The UK also introduced a system of indefinite leave to remain rather than citizenship, grant status to refugees, which left them in a state of uncertainty and insecurity. The UK also introduced a system of citizenship tests, which required applicants to demonstrate their knowledge of British history, culture, and values, which implied that they were not British enough, or that they had to assimilate and abandon their own identities. Now, some of these tests, the the most funny part of it is that even the people in the UK, when you give them those tests, they would definitely fail. The so-called indigenous citizens of the British, when you give them some of these tests, they'll fail. They'll fail flat. But because of discrimination, they introduced those tests. So, carrying on, the UK's immigration laws have continued to change in the 21st century in response to the so called events of 9/11, the war on terror, the British, they introduced this Brexit referendum, and following the British, we know what happened after the Brexit referendum and the COVID-19 pandemic. The UK has continued to even tighten its borders to limit its obligations and to create a hostile environment for migrants. The UK has continued to treat migrants as means to an end rather than as ends in themselves. Yes, unfortunately. This is totally wrong. This is unfair. This is a, a big bully that is unquestionable for all this era. This is inhumane. Migrants are not means to an end. You cannot the system, their system is more like a faucet, like two-way faucet. They turn it on, they open it up to let migrants in, and then when they don't want them, they turn it the other way around to let them go get out. It's wrong. This is human life. People are not means to an end. They are ends in themselves. This is so inhumane. Migrants are not means to an end. Migrants are ends in themselves. Migrants are human beings who have rights, dignity, and value. Migrants are not a problem, a burden, or a threat. Migrants are a solution, a resource, and an opportunity. Migrants are not a homogeneous, monolithic, or static group. Migrants are diverse, dynamic, and adaptable. Do you know what it takes for them to get there? Education wise, financially, psychologically. Do you know what it takes them to get to the UK? Yes, I repeat, migrants are diverse, they are dynamic, and they are adaptable. Migrants are not just workers, consumers, or tax payers. Migrants are also parents. They are parents. They have children. They have friends. They have neighbors. And they are citizens, of course. Migrants are not just numbers. They are not statistics or categories. Migrants are also stories. They are experiences and perspectives. The UK needs to change its attitude, its policies, and its laws towards migrants. The UK needs to recognize, respect, and protect the rights of migrants. If they do care about human rights and diversity and inclusivity, what they talk of, if they do care, they need to recognize, respect, and protect the rights of migrants. The UK needs to welcome, support, and integrate migrants that seeks asylum. The UK needs to celebrate, appreciate, and learn from migrants. The UK needs to acknowledge, apologize, and compensate for the harm it has done to migrants. The UK needs to cooperate, collaborate, and consult with migrants. The UK needs to empower, enable, and elevate migrants. The UK needs to treat migrants as ends in themselves, not just not a means, not as means to an end. It's so poor of them. It's awful, unfortunate that the so-called people who are the politicians that champion the causes of deportation of migrants and restricting the right of migrants are themselves descendants of migrants. Some of them don't even have the proper documentation, but they are the ones that champion the cause of making the life of other migrants harsh. Why is it like that? Why? Why do we give in too much? I would definitely want somebody to come and share their perspective on this topic if they are here. Hello to everybody watching. This is a show that I believe if you I know a lot of people lived into and today's where we live in this world where like we do not care about the bullies anymore. And so longer it doesn't affect us, we don't care. Oh, let them handle their problems, their problems. But when it affects you, you are so loud, you want everybody to listen to you. I think we are poor. It's poor of that attitude is called a destructive attitude. We need to get involved. because for so long the UK has gotten away with so much. They are the one who goes around the globe telling people that, oh, you are supposed to be like that, you're supposed to be like this, you're supposed to be like that, but they no, they do not get anybody to come to their face and point hand at them and be, hey, you are discriminating against migrants, you are treating people as trashes, you are using people as a means to solve your problems, but you don't care about them and their problems. It is evil, it is part of you. You don't do that. Who is going to join me, guys? I do not intend this show to be that long. So if I don't have anybody join within some few minutes, I'll wrap up the show and end it. But for the fact that this topic needs to be there, we need to speak up on this. It's not right that whenever the UK needs workers, it put up this, it put up this. I mean, it's lessen its systems, lessen its laws, reducing um, the financial threshold and everything, and then get them in. And unfortunately, like there are a lot of people because of poverty, and a lot of us that from these poor countries that we don't have, our systems are so bad that they don't provide jobs to the youth. Some of the youth will even sacrifice their lives to just go and work in the UK on a, they call it a volunteer care visa. Basically, it means that you work without pay. So a lot of people will just buy their own tickets, will not be sponsored, get money, or sometimes borrow money, sell their properties on these care visas and get to the UK, believing that in the near future they will be able to turn their life around, change their situation. Then when they get there, this is what happened to them. They change the laws on them and make sure that they deport them. Then they come back home being more poor than ever because now they sold their properties, they sold everything. I mean, they've gave up on everything they've been depending on for so long. This is what happened. This is what they do to the people of the world. It's so bad. It's ugly. It's so ugly. And it has been happening for so long. It has been happening for so long. Sorry to say. Yes, I talk about the Windrush. I talk about the Uganda Asians. I talk about the other Caribbean migrate who they so they called upon and now they change the laws on them. Yes, that's the UK, the United Kingdom. They've united, they united to exploit people. They are united for human rights abuses, and nobody questioned them because they are the big bullies. And I just don't know how it ended up being in the UK that the so-called descendants of migrants end up becoming the champions of these causes. Yes, brutal. It's very brutal. Without much ado, I want to say a big thank you to people, those of you who be watching me. Make sure you like this video, share, subscribe, join the family. When next time when I'm live, make it a point to join me on the show and share your views regarding topics like this. Without much ado, I also want to say if you want to support Afriscope TV, look below on the description section down here on YouTube for the appropriate means to support this show. And for people, my long time friends, supporters. I say greetings to all of you. Keep supporting Afriscope TV. We ain't going nowhere. We will continue talking about the topics, even if they don't want us to talk about it. We need to talk about it because nobody, no God in the skies will fix the world's problem than you and I. So we need to unite and solve these problems. After all, I'm an African, and most of the people who will be affected by those so called change in the immigration laws are going to be Africans. Yes, they are Africans. So basically, what is going to happen to us, we're going to have a lot of people come back more poor than ever, and they'll be fighting for survival on the continent. They've already lost their properties, and now they'll come back to fight with people who are also struggling here. So you see, that's how bad it is, and now that's why we need to keep fighting and talking about this until something is done. The UK, shame on you, shame on you for treating people as a means to an end, not regarding them as an end in themselves. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends and families and loved ones, and subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to this channel. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please remember I'm here. Remember to hit me up in my email or contact me. Um, I would also love to hear from you, and stay tuned for more videos on the issues that matters the most to all of us or to humanity. Until next time, take care and stay safe.